Hello and welcome to Overdrive. I'm Rohit Paradkar and this is the new Skoda Kailak. Of course, the name is not here. The ones inside will have all the branding loud and clear. That's the name that the Indians have chosen for the car. This is a car made for India by Skoda India with a high level of localization. This is their first proper sub 4 meter crossover offering. Let's not count the Fabia Scout in there because this is a proper SUV look. It's derived from the Kodiaq, of course, in terms of the design, in terms of the platform. It is built on the A0iN, which means it's sharing some of its underpinnings with the Kushaq. So let's take a closer look at the vehicle and talk about what are the key changes, what are the key highlights, and how it is different from its sibling, the Kushaq. Well, first thing, like I said, the design, it comes from the Kodiaq. It's inspired by the Kodiaq, which is why you get the headlights in the bumper, you get that beautiful LED brow, and you get this proper 3D ribbed effect for the grille. Now, when I showed you the L-Rock, I did mention that in all likelihood you're going to see a Skoda lettering over here. You can even see the size of that dimple right there. That was to accommodate the Skoda lettering, but they have gone with the Skoda logo instead. That's because Indians, our market, we associate with this logo quite well, which is the reason why you will see the Skoda logo at the front. But when we step to the rear, you will see the Skoda lettering. We'll do that in a bit. Let's also talk about some of the other key design highlights. You see this prominent crease around the headlight assembly. Now these are LED headlamps. You see the projector beam right there. You're also going to get a cornering light function with it. And these LEDs or this headlamp assembly is going to be standard across the range. So even if you were to settle for the entry level Kailak, you are still going to get this LED DRL brow and the LED headlights. Now this is going to be the signature color. They are calling it the olive gold or the olive green, whichever way you want to look at it. And I think all these design details stand out quite nicely. If you also turn our attention to the bonnet, you will see prominent creases out here. You get this really nice pinched line which goes all the way to the window line. And then you get these indentations right here, a massive indentation here as well, which lends a nice and sporty appeal to the car. Now I know there are quite a bit of reflections here because I'm trying to show you the car in the real world, but I think it looks really gorgeous, right? So that is going to be the olive green color. Like I said, all these lines are nicely highlighted. There's of course going to be a red, there's going to be a subtle gray if you want that, and you will also see a Foss skid plate down below in that matte satin finish. The mesh treatment on top looks quite nice too. You can see the radiator right behind that, but it's not looking like an eyesore at all. It's a clean design. If you look at the front end, it's a very clean looking design and the paint quality is really good. Now another thing I need to point out is the wipers don't look too basic. I think that has been quite nicely done as well. I was worried that since it's a made for India car, there might be some cheap bits or stuff that makes it look cheap. No, none of that is here. It's very nicely designed. We'll move over to the wheels as well. 17 inches is what you're going to get on the top end variants. They are shod with 205/55 section tires. Now these are going to be the CEAT Secura drive, at least at launch. You'll also see a bit of green over there. So you get this beautiful pearlescent finish on this particular color. The red is of course a solid red. So that is going to be a little different in the way it appears. Now you get the request sensor even for the passenger side. And if you look down below, you get this beautiful pattern on it. It's subtly done, but a nice pattern that you will see on those rub rails or on those rocker panels. In fact, that section has been given quite a tall or a broad or a thick design, and that's to give this vehicle a nice vertical stance because they want it to look imposing, which is why even the front end has an absolutely straight profile and it gives it that nice vertically tall stance. Now let's move over to the rear. The rear is, I think, where they should have taken a little bit more inspiration from the other Skoda cars, especially the Kodiaq. I would have liked to see slightly bigger, slightly longer tail lights, and when I say longer, horizontally, that would have been much better. It would have established a nice sense of width also to the car, not just the sense of height that they're trying to go with. So you see that down below. There is the 4 skid plate that you see right below as well. And as I was saying, the Skoda lettering on it and those stubby LED tail lights. Now this particular design detail, it reminds me of some of the older Skoda and Volkswagen cars like the Polo, for example, or even the older Rapid, and it's a nice design touch. Again, the sculpting is quite nicely done on the entire boot. And speaking of the boot, let's also step in and see what the boot space is going to be like. So let's do that in a bit, but let's just finish the exterior bits first. You get this rising window line, which again adds to the effect. I also like how they have done a little bit of that 3D effect there. It really adds to the premium appeal. I like how it rises up. I like how the whole window line rises up. And then we also have these roof rails right on top. You also see the shark fin antenna. Again, a Škoda signature, a high stop lamp. This is not exactly a spoiler element, but you also see a high stop lamp for it. You will see the wash and wipe provided on the top end variant. I want to see if the low end one has it as well. Now let's take a look at the boot. That's the boot space for you. 446 liters of boot is what you're going to get. Now the interesting bits, if you look at the loading lip, it's not too high. So lifting heavy baggage, keeping it in there shouldn't be a problem at all. You will also see these hooks, 3 kg capacity for the hooks. So if you need to hang in some heavy items, heavy bags there, you can do that as well. And the boot itself is very nicely designed. It's nicely maximizing the space. So even if it says 446 liters, it's not like it's some random calculation. It's a nice proper aperture that you see, and a nice indentation for the boot floor. So maximizing the space has been done quite nicely. You also see a 60-40 split seat, so you can add a bit more versatility there. You have this big parcel shelf. You can see that from here. You can see the angle. Now the interesting bit is, if you have to remove this from maybe taller items or something, they have also put this little notch over here on both sides, so you can literally just slide in that parcel shelf into that particular space, so that it nicely fits in there without compromising on your boot and giving you that extra volume or that extra height if you so need. So that is another bit that I really like. It's quite nicely done. The wheel arches aren't intruding too much into the boot space, so like I said, it's a very usable space. You also see the ISOFIX tethers there. This is not an electric boot, of course you can't expect it at this price. I'm going to come to the price in a bit. So this is going to be done manually. Now let's also go inside and see what the space is going to be like. Now the doors open nice and wide. The aperture is again quite good. Ingress and egress, not a problem at all. Space, of course, like a typical sub 4 meter vehicle, is not going to be the best. Now I am 5 feet 8 with this kind of seating. This is the kind of knee room that I get. Headroom is pretty decent. They have also scooped out the headliner to improve on the headroom, but anyone taller than 6 feet is going to have a bit of a problem here. It's going to be a bit of a squeeze. You also get the center armrest with 2 cup holders, and they have done 3 adjustable headrests at the back, which means you can squeeze in 3 adults if you want to, and you're going to still get whiplash protection for them. The other features include these rear AC vents and 2 USB-C ports. And because Škoda, simply clever, right? So they've given this little space for your phone, and then more space in the seat back for your documents, iPad, etc, etc. Let's now talk about the front of the cabin. So what you get here is the push button starter with a chrome ring around it. This is where you're going to adjust the headlamps from, and you will also see it's got auto headlights, so which is another good thing. This panel is a good way for us to look at the 3 different textures that they're offering. We saw this on the outside, so you get those similar textures on the inside as well. And then you get these white inlay panels, which look quite nice. And then there is this little green rib that you see passing through all of that, and then those textures over here. So that instantly makes it look a little upmarket, let's put it that way. I think it's really well done. Okay, that's a really powerful AC, so let's reduce the fan speed. So you've got this touch panel right here for your HVAC controls. You will also see ventilated seats. So we have ventilated seats, 2-level adjustable for that, and then some of the traditional switches that you see here, including auto start stop. This is what you get a 10-inch for the infotainment. You're going to get an 8-inch screen for the instrumentation. You can see it's got a MID as well. The multifunction steering wheel right here. Now this is going to be a 2-spoke design like we saw on some of the other Škoda cars. It's got those roll and click switches. This layout, this instrumentation, all of that is pretty familiar. I hope it has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto support wirelessly. Wired support is definitely there. You also get a wireless charger in here. You get a 12-volt socket in here, two USB-C ports right here. You see the automatic selector right here, because what you're going to get here is a torque converter, a 6-speed torque converter, and also the option of a 6-speed manual. We'll talk about the engine under the hood in a bit. This is what the glove compartment looks like. Another clever touch is that little sunglass holder right there, or the traditional placement is usually over here. You don't get that here. What you do get over here is controls for the sunroof, because there is a sunroof, but only for the driver's side, none for the rear passenger, as we saw. You get LED lights over here as well, and this is electrically operated. The rear door handles are also going to get a little hook for hanging your coat or whatever. And another little Škoda touch is the tag holder. If you want to put your fast tag there instead of sticking it here, you can do that as well. Continuing with the clever bits, you also get these cup holders with these fraction dots, so keeping your bottles, your cups, glasses, etc. shouldn't be a problem at all. You also get a little bit of crevice here, and then you get space under the center armrest. The center armrest is a nice and stubby unit, but it's still going to be comfortable, and it is adjustable for reach. So that's the other good bit. Speaking of adjustability, the passenger seat as well as the driver's seat is electrically controlled, so that's only on the top end variant though. And then you also get these green inlays that we are talking about here. You get them here as well. Now the AC already quite powerful. I quite like it. The rear AC vents are also there, so that is another interesting bit. So let's now pop open the hood and take a look at the engine. The engine, like I said, it borrows some of the bits from the Kushaq. Now this is one important bit that it gets from the Kushaq. This is the 1-liter TSI engine. It's running right now. You can probably hear it. It's pretty silent. That is something that we have always liked about the Kushaq's engine. It's pretty refined for what it is, a 3-cylinder motor. It puts out the same amount of power, 115 PS and 178 Newton meters of torque. That's 115 PS of power. And it comes at the same zone as the Kushaq. So the tuning is not going to be very different. Of course, there will be subtle changes here and there to suit the nature of this car. But that is what we have right now. We don't have the claimed fuel economy figures for this engine for this particular application. But I'm sure it is going to be pretty efficient, as we found out even with the Kushaq. So that is going to be the other bit. Like I said, you can get two gearbox options with this. One is the 6-speed manual. The other is the AQ250 6-speed torque converter. No DCT business here, because, well, Indians don't love DCTs on a Škoda. So they have addressed that issue as well. Now Indians also want the maximum bang for the buck, right? So this vehicle, now this is a top end variant. So I don't know the pricing for this yet. They have not announced the pricing yet. But the starting price for this car is going to be 7.89 lakh rupees. Now, as you would expect, this is introductory pricing, of course. And it is going to be pretty well spec'd, even in terms of safety features, even for the base model, is what Škoda tells us. Right, so let's talk a little bit about the safety before we sign off. Now you're going to get drum brakes at the rear, not disc brakes, even on this top end model. There is no ADAS either, which is okay in my opinion. I don't know how many people are really choosing ADAS for the sub 4 meter crossover segment, but they're still aiming for a 5-star Bharat NCAP rating. So that is what they tell us. There, the taillights are on now for you to see how they look. And we'll also request our friends to switch on the headlights in the meantime. There, so those are going to be your LED headlights, projector beam, like I said. Now safety features, ISOFIX style seat mounts is what you saw in the back. You're going to get airbags in all corners of the car, at least on the top end variant. They're saying 25 plus active and passive safety features is what you'll get. You're going to get traction control as well, and there is an EDIF to help it handle better. Now this is a front wheel driven configuration, of course, but there's going to be that EDIF as well. And there is also the multi-mode collision avoidance system that they have with all Škodas. So they have that even on this car. It's there even on the Kailak. So in terms of safety, they should be right up there even without the presence of ADAS in it. And like I said, I don't think it's a big deal not having ADAS, but I want to know, what do you think? Do you think in 2025 ADAS is absolutely important? Let me know in the comments below. Like I said, 7.89 lakh rupees is the starting price for the Kailak. The rest of the pricing, the variant-wise pricing, the variant-wise feature breakup and everything will be announced on the 2nd of December. December is when this vehicle enters production, and the deliveries will begin in January 2025. So what do you think about this car? What do you think about the pricing? What do you think about the features that we saw right now, at least with this particular car that is standing here? Does it live up to your expectations, or does it leave you wanting for more? Let me know your feedback. I think it looks stunning. I think the pricing is really well done. I would probably go with the red color instead of this one, but I think overall this is looking like a very promising product. And the Kushaq itself got off to a really good start, so I think the Kailak should also generate a lot of interest. And the vehicle should be available for you to see at the Skoda dealerships real soon. It will also be there at the Auto Expo, and like I said, January is when the deliveries begin. So by the time Auto Expo happens, the first lot of vehicles will have delivered already. The first lot of customers are also going to get quite a few benefits, is what I'm told, and there will be quite a bit of interesting features on offer in terms of the warranty, the buyback packages, residual value and all of that. So they're working all of that out as well. Financing is something that they're looking closely into. So even that will probably, there'll be something nice on offer out there. I'm told the first 33,000 customers are going to get some special benefits. What they are is something that they'll announce on 2nd of December with the rest of the pricing. So get cracking, start typing, let us know your feedback about the Kailak. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and do consider giving us a like and a share. Until the next one, take care and drive safe.